Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be practicing a yin sequence today. Grab any props that would make you feel comfortable. And with that, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to let the practice primarily speak for itself, which it does so beautifully. So with that, we will come into a seat. You can choose to elevate your hips with a pillow if you like. Find a way that you can have a nice long spine, letting the sit bones ground, the spine lengthen. Move the back of the ears just 1 inch or so back in space as you close the eyes. And begin to notice the natural rhythm of your breath at this moment. And without trying to change the breath, can you begin to use the breath as a means to welcome whatever this moment happens to be? So all the little nuances, observing how the body feels, observing the quality of your thoughts, observing even the temperature of the air as it moves in and out the nose. We'll begin to do a little equilateral breathing together. I am going to use the count of 3 for ease. But if you find that you'd like to deepen the breath, you can choose the count of 4. If you need it to be shorter, you can do so. I'll talk you through the first few rounds, and then you'll carry on your own. We'll be breathing equally in length with the inhale and the exhale using the count of 3. The breath is in and out the nose. We'll take 1 big clearing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, big sigh, let it out the mouth. Seal the lips. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Carry on just like that in your own way. Just a few more cycles of breath. And as we move throughout the practice together, stay very connected to this breath. The more you do so, the richer the practice becomes. And very gently, you can begin to flicker open the eyes. And it's not the most yin start, but we're going to gently make our way into a very soft downward facing dog. Have some pillows nearby. This downward dog is very temporary. And no, you could be in a tabletop position if you'd rather not do downward dog today. Our first shape of the class will be swan pose, sleeping swan pose. Bring your right knee towards your outer right wrist crease, and then you can wiggle your right shin forward any amount as you slowly begin to melt the chest forward towards props or pillows. I do highly recommend that you use pillows to support the chest. We want the shoulders and the upper body to be soft, to be passive, as best as you can. Closing the eyes and keeping your focus inwards. I won't be speaking too much in the next chunk of class. So I'd like to remind you that your breath, it is always going to be your greatest teacher. Last few slow cycles of breath. Slowly begin to lift the torso, rise all the way up, back up onto the palms, and then roll off to the right. And then bring the right knee more towards the center line of the mat. And then we'll sweep our left foot around to the outside of the right knee. We're going to come into a twist from here. Again, you can always be sitting on pillows. And then I'd like you to wrap your left leg with the right hand. Left fingertips come behind the body for support. And there's no need to really crank the body here. We won't be here for quite as long as our other holds. Close the eyes. Let the breath be the subtle movement that exists within the shape. Last few breaths. Very slowly, you release. Begin to shift your gaze forward. We'll come into our last shape on this side, Gomukhasana, or shoelace pose. That'll be crossing our left knee completely over the right, so you can come forward towards a tabletop position. Open the ankles a little bit wider, and then you can choose to sit up on pillows. Stay exactly as you are upright. This might be more than enough. Or you can allow the upper body to drape forward. There's no better or worse, right or wrong. You're here to explore your intelligent edge, whatever that means for you today. Last few breaths. And then slowly rise all the way back up till the shoulders stack above the hips. And then you will lean back so that you can release the soles of the feet down to the ground. And take a few rounds of breath just to simply windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And we'll do that whole sequence on the opposite side. So now you can plant your palms down to the ground and either make your way to a gentle downward facing dog, or you could take child's pose or tabletop if that would better serve you. And only when you're ready, we'll come into sleeping swan pose, bringing your left knee towards your outer left wrist crease, wiggling your left shin forward any amount. And then you'll slowly allow the upper body to drape forward until you find resistance. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. What matters is that you are experiencing sensations of opening that is sustainable. We'll be here just a little longer. Can you soften in one more way? And slowly rise all the way up. Roll to the left hip so you can bring your left knee more towards the center line of the mat. And then we'll cross our right leg over that so the sole of the right foot comes to the left of the left knee. And then your left foot is to the outside of the right sit bone. Your left arm now gives your right leg a hug as your right fingertips gently come behind the body for support. Allowing the breath to create some movement along the spine, just observing with curiosity as the breath travels up and the breath travels down. And then really slowly, we'll make our way towards shoelace or Gomukhasana pose. That's bringing our left knee on top of the right. You can move forward towards the tabletop to open the ankles up a little bit wider. And then you can sit your sit bones back down to the earth, or you can choose to bring a pillow underneath, stay upright, or allow the upper body to drape forward, just until you find resistance. Closing the eyes, keeping your focus within. Last few slow cycles of breath. And begin to lift the torso, rise all the way up. As we did before, bring the soles of the feet down to the ground. Take a moment to slowly windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Eventually making your way onto your back. Opening the legs wide, opening the arms wide, giving yourself permission to take up space. There's nothing to do. Just use this as an opportunity to observe. We'll close with a spinal twist. If you have a variation of a spinal twist that you'd rather take, you're welcome to. I will talk you through a very simple one. Bend your knees, hug the knees inwards towards the chest, open the arms wide, arms out to a T. Shift your hips 1 or 2 inches to the left, and then lower the knees to the right, spinal twist. Knees can either find the ground or they can come to props, and you can open that left arm wide and then choose to look over either shoulder. Settle into stillness. Let the breath speak louder than anything else. And just as we did before, the practice remains incredibly simplistic. Feel the breath travel up the spinal column. Notice with your exhales as the breath travels down the spinal column. Gently bring the knees back through your midline. And then we'll jump right in. Shift your hips 1 or 2 inches to the right. Keep the knees in close as you lower the knees to the left, choosing to support yourself in any way you need to. And you can look over either shoulder as you open the right arm wide. This will be our last guided shape of the class. So is there one more way that you could really give yourself to this shape? last few slow cycles of breath. Slowly guide the knees back inwards towards your midline. And give yourself a gentle squeeze. If there's any last final movements that your body is craving, I encourage you to take them. Otherwise, allow yourself to be still. Giving yourself permission to simply be for the last few minutes together. Beginning to wiggle the fingertips, the toes, inspiring small flickers of movement back within the shape. In your own time, in your own way, letting those movements slowly and gradually become larger. Eventually reaching the arms all the way overhead, feeling a full body stretch like you are first waking up in the morning. Every time we leave Shavasana, it is a rebirth of sorts. And in the path that is most simple, most gentle, you'll eventually land in a seat. Letting the sit bones ground, the spine lengthen. Hands through to the center of the heart. Whatever this practice means to you, to that I bow. Thank you so much for practicing. I hope to see you soon.